Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. It's very early morning here. Everyone's asleep, so that's why I'm talking a little bit lowly. But I'm sure you can understand what I've got to say. Look, Kevin Feige is a comic book man. That's where he originates from. So I think someone who's a comic book man isn't very good at bullshitting situations when he feels that maybe the public are being defrauded. And I think there's no question about it. At San Diego Comic Con 2019, over this past weekend, Kevin looked very uncomfortable in one-on-one interviews because he knows a lot of the decisions for this brand new slate come from corporate Disney. The success of the Infinity Saga was because 9 out of 10 of those decisions were from him. The only one that wasn't, which is pretty clear, is Captain Marvel. We saw what happened there. That was that was a very uncomfortable saga for Kevin Feige. The hatred, the stuff that Larson was saying publicly that was totally unrelated to the MCU. There's no question about it. He did not cast Brie Larson. Brie Larson was not his idea, and I would be surprised even if doing a Captain Marvel movie was his idea. The whole thing was pretty pointless, if you ask me. But this is kind of what's going on now. This representation agenda. The problem is, there's nothing wrong with good representation. It's when the representation takes center stage instead of good content. And this is the thing. Kevin did look very uncomfortable presenting that slate because that slate is very underwhelming and very mediocre. The only two things that I kind of got a little bit excited about were the sequel to Doctor Strange and the announcement about Blade. You know, the actor who's going to be playing Blade has, is a 2 times Oscar winner. You can't diss that situation, and it is exciting. And I liked the first Doctor Strange, and I'm excited about the second one. And I think the character did himself a lot of favours in Infinity War and Endgame. So I was very happy with him. I like him. I love Benny Cumberbatch. He's a great guy and very talented. But there's no question about it. The political situation that's going on over Marvel Studios is certainly, well, Kevin Feige just does not look happy to me. He doesn't look happy to be there anymore. There seems to be a discomfort zone, and he was very frosty with at least one interviewer, and I think I saw discomfort in another interview as well. He just doesn't seem. They asked him about the kind of LGBTQ elements that they'll be representing in their movie, and he kind of snapped and said, "Well, isn't that obvious? Does it need saying?" And that to me strikes me as a person who doesn't feel comfortable talking about it because he knows what the MCU's now becoming. And this is the problem. When you start off a franchise and you're in charge of something and you've got a plan, Kevin Feige is a very visionary guy. He's a very concept guy. So he comes up with he came up with the Infinity Saga. It worked. The whole story works from let's start again. The whole story works from Iron Man, the first Iron Man, to Endgame. To Spider-Man Far From Home. That's the last one in Phase 3, right? And, coming up with these phases, it's genius and it works. I'm a DC man, as you know, but I've got to respect greatness. I've got to respect talent. And what he's done is fucking amazing. And I look at him now, and I remember him when he was first walking onto the San Diego Hall H stage, and there was an air of confidence about Kevin Feige. I didn't see that confidence in Kevin Feige. He just doesn't look comfortable anymore. He doesn't look happy anymore, and that should be a big worry for every Marvel fan. Now, you're not going to get this on your Grace Randolph video because they don't want to talk about this. It doesn't suit their agenda. And they have advertisers and sponsors. I barely get 100 views per video. So it's great. I could just say whatever the fuck I want and how the fuck I feel. And I saw it. Go back and watch those interviews. He wasn't comfortable during that entire presentation. And when I talk about most of that slate coming from Disney corporate, I mean, the Disney Plus stuff is Disney corporate. that's their agenda now. Streaming, they're obsessed. They think they can make a lot of money. They think they can destroy Netflix and take all the candy. Of course, I think they're all going to implode with streaming in the end. I just think there's too many streaming services. And in the end, the public are going to say, too many of you, we can't invest in you all, so why should we invest in any of you? And I think that's what's going to happen in the end. But yeah, he doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look happy. I can see him quitting. I can see him quitting by the end of, I'd say by 2020, end of 2020, he won't be there anymore. Because if that's how uncomfortable he is presenting that corporate slate that he had very little to do with, as I say, he probably had something to do with Blade and the Doctor Strange sequel. The other stuff to me, I just think Disney corporate have got other people interfering in Marvel now, and I think look, that Infinity Saga was amazing. It was a great achievement, and you could kind of tell that the Infinity Saga was the end. It was the end. That was the moment when Kevin Feige was there doing whatever the hell he wanted. And now the stuff that they're saying, I mean, when you've got Tessa Thompson calling her character a king and she has to find her queen. And, this is a Thor movie starring Chris Hemsworth. And, nobody asked for Jane Foster. Nobody wanted Jane Foster back. Thor Ragnarok was amazing because Jane Foster wasn't in it and Thor wasn't watered down anymore. Thor wasn't this anymore. Thor was like, hey, I'm Thor. I'm a surfer, Or, do you know what I mean? Kind of cool, relaxed. And now they brought her back because we know why. Because of representation. Why couldn't she get her own Disney Plus series? Why couldn't they give her a Jane Foster movie? Why does she have to come back to this Thor movie and water it down? Because this is what SJWs do. SJWs are insane. SJWs have females standing there saying that she's a king and she has to find her queen. These are SJW purposeful statements, force-feeding political agenda into films. There was an article or a study the other day saying people watch Disney movies to escape from reality and real life political commentary. Well, it's there now, isn't it? It's there in your face. So now where are people going to go? Because there is actually nowhere to go to escape anymore if Disney are going to be doing this as well, which they are. And I just feel that someone like Kevin Feige is a good person. He wants to entertain the fans. He wants the fans to have this escapism. And he's a Marvel Comics man at the end of the day. And I think that Disney Corporate are betraying the brainchild that he created. And I think ultimately, because he's a good man, because he has a conscience, I can't see how the man can remain. And absolutely, I do think there's an opportunity for him to come and work with Walter Hamada at DC Films. He can be the voice of the outfit. Would he do it? I don't know. He's a Marvel man. He's a Marvel man, and I could definitely see him quitting because the kind of discomfort I saw at San Diego was something. The lack of confidence. He was stuttering a lot. I'd never seen that from this man before. People, DC fans have kind of nicknamed him Lord Fake, and that's what he is to Marvel fans. A lot of times, or to MCU fans. I mean, some Marvel Comics fans don't like the guy, and that's a difference of opinion that I have to respect. But at the end of the day, he used to strut on that stage, any stage, and he was confident about the content because it was all coming from his heart, his soul, and his mind. But now there's interference. It's become political. And as I say, go back and see him. It wasn't the strutting, confident Kevin Feige. And for me, when you've got a situation like that, the link has to break and he'll leave, he'll quit because he's uncomfortable. He knows that now the MCU is a corporate entity because the Infinity Saga was so successful. Disney have seen that now, and they want to be in control of this pie. They want to spread it through the whole company because the company just doesn't have anything else that the whole of the movie-going industry is obsessed with. I mean, they're turning their animated fairy tale characters into live action. I mean, we've seen Aladdin make a lot of money. We've seen Lion King make a lot of money, and good for them. But at the end of the day, Marvel is where it's at. But they can get this wrong as well as they can get it right. And I just think this slate is very, very underwhelming. And yes, I'm going to bring my DC bias into this because at the end of the day, when I know that Birds of Prey is coming, when I know that Wonder Woman 1984 is coming, that I know that Joker movie is coming in October, when I know that 6 awesome DC movies are in production in 2020 in terms of The Batman, The Flash, Black Adam, Shazam 2, Suicide Squad, New Gods. That's a lot of content. And to me, it's bigger content. Now, I know DC fans were complaining that none of this was announced at San Diego, but they've got nothing to announce. It's next year they'll be at San Diego showing off about this. And basically, Feige already announced his slate. There's nothing really much he can do next year. So there's no question about it. The DC world of film is going to be the one bragging how big their sausage is next year. So that's going to be very interesting. But in terms of Feige, and I mean, my MCU fans will say I'm talking shit and I'm just a DC biased guy, and maybe I am. I'll take that. I'll take that. But from the outside looking in, I think Kevin is beginning to look very uncomfortable because he's not solely in charge of what's going on here. But what do you think? Please comment down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And tell your friends about me. Let's have the conversation. Let's keep the conversation going. And let's keep it clean, if we can.